Hello and welcome to this week's video of the whited out skies and the narrative of the Civil War. That'll be the topic of this week's video. And as you can see right here, this is not a scene from a great fire, but the scene from the cannons of the Civil War, with the very altered and doctored whited out skies. The typical scenes you see from many of the great fires. Bricks in complete rubble, cleared out streets, trees and poles still standing. Here's another scene from the Civil War in Richmond. Complete rubble. They've got some nice cannonballs added in here for effect. Everybody's just standing around posing. Where's the cannons? They have all these cannonballs, but no cannons around to show for it. And of course, you got that whited out sky here. And we're given a scene from a ambulance. And just look at these uniforms. No dirt or soot on them. Now they say these Civil War scenes were posed because they had to be. You know, America's most bloodiest battle. And we took time to set up the narrative. People weren't busy enough in these bloody battles. They had plenty of time to set scenes and stages like this. Guys looking up at the camera here. Everybody's looking at the camera. Just look at the absolute ruins. They say it was caused by cannon. And people just standing around. Now when I talk about whited out skies, I talk about scenes like this. This is one of my favorite pictures I refer people to. Now, they've been altering images since long before our version of Photoshop was out. Remember, everything that we have in the civilian sector, governments are 40, 50 plus years ahead of us, easily. And now if I have to explain this photo, just look at the skies here. Just look at when it gets up to the flags of this at the 1898 World's Fair in Omaha, Nebraska. Just look at that. Such a sloppy job. And you see that in a lot of them. And here's another scene from the Civil War. And if you can't tell the alteration of the sky here, just look. It's completely cropped out. Whatever was here, they don't want you to see. And I think you can kind of maybe see what was there. This little line, perhaps it was a effect of the camera, or maybe it's an airship. So I mean, when you look at some of these scenes from the Civil War, they certainly don't look like cannons did that. But airships? Now they could definitely have done that kind of bombing and destruction and devastation. And I believe airships, like photos and stuff like that, have been around a lot longer than they tell us. There's another altering of the sky here. See, complete chop job. Choppy lines. And completely whited out sky. Now we're going to focus on the Civil War primarily here in this video. And some of the narrative that goes along with it. How did the Civil War happen? Sure. But was it what they told us it was? Battle of slavery, battle of, North versus South. I don't think so. I think these were a battle of the old world, battle of the ruins of America. And when you look at some of these scenes, castles, old buildings that look like they were abandoned for decades, centuries. Now, loc.gov is a great place I use for some of my resources here. I hope this video also kind of helps show you my process and how I find my images and videos and clips. Pinterest, another great site in the American Civil War. Here's Charleston, South Carolina. This is what I say when I say much older. I mean, look at that overgrowth in these ruins here. These ruins caused by cannons. I mean, it just looks like this has been abandoned for quite some time. There's another one here. Broken out windows, just complete scenes of abandonment. Many old looking photos here. This was, I believe, at Charleston as well. Now, Pinterest can be a great tool. Kind of just takes you off into different directions. Posing. This broken cannon here. People just sitting around posing there. This was at Tennessee State Capitol in Nashville. That beautiful architecture. Some crude hot air balloon. And look at this, almost like Photoshop added in cannonballs here. Stacked up so nice and neatly. Just piled up the cannons right here. Beautiful camping scene. Just hanging out with the boys here, getting a nice little pose. Oh, we're all injured and, no blood or anything like that. Completely cleaned uniforms. Looks like they came just from the cleaner for this shot. This guy in crutches here. Looks like they're just at the park. Prisoners. Posing in front of a very nice looking cannon. Got that hand in the uniform. Show off your Freemasonry signs. Let us know what the wars are really about. This looks like a train of people moving in here. Look, they did such a terrible job photoshopping out the sky here. They cut out half the steeple. Oh, it's just long exposure time. Now, same long exposure that says you can't have anything move or it goes completely blurry. Nice little poses with skulls there. Back to that whited out photo. It doesn't look too bad here. They re-altered that. And ruins in Richmond. Look at this. Again, just no cannons at all. Cannonballs here. Bricks looking almost fake. Everybody's just standing around amongst the whited out skies of Richmond. There's a photo I pinned here. Wanted to show you guys. Ah, yes. Look at this. From the Civil War as well. Drury's Bluff, Virginia signal tower, they call it. Well, these signal towers look like a older version of, if you would, mooring stations. And those airships. Remember the ones I told you I think played a part in that Civil War? I mean, unless you want to believe that all of that destruction we've seen is from cannonballs. That's just a perfect representation. That mooring station here, and going back to that signal tower. And go ahead and let's check out some of the ruins here. Just look at that stonework just laying on its side. This guy's just posing, looking off at the sea. This were the castles of America. Look at that. What cannon causes this? You see all these wooden rickety shacks. And you see scenes like this. That nice little altered sky here. This was Atlanta. One building just completely in ruin. This one's completely fine. Looking again like that directed energy weapon type attack. Or bombardment from above. All weird anomalies here. That. And what are these ladies doing with their umbrellas? Look at that. Utility poles for 1865, which is kind of funny in itself. It's been telegraph poles or something. Those are completely fine. The brick building right next to it, completely in rubble. This beautiful building left relatively untouched. Buildings next to it, not so lucky. And people just posing here, looking like very fake looking bullet holes on the side of these. You can see the antennas, all these buildings here, in complete rubble. Again, I just love this scene. People just standing around. No cannons actually to be found here, but massive amounts of cannonballs. Let me just look at this. This whole scene looks like it's been abandoned for some time. Here's some work of rebuilding. Just look at these. These are like castles, cathedrals. It looks like Dresden right after World War II's bombing. Same beautiful type of architecture. And again, this is, in the 1860s. This is when America was less than 100 years old. All of these look like they have been here for quite some time. Guys posing in front of a little cannon. Very old looking fort. There goes some photos from the Atlantic. And I mean, let's look at this weird fenced off area. This masonry spread all about. What the heck is this? And again, South Carolina is just completely in rubble. Nice whited out sky here though. Like little cannonball holes here and here. Littered with cannonballs, but does this really look like what cannonballs do? I mean, come on. Almost looks like a bell. This looks like the scene from the Great Fire of San Francisco from last week's video. This weird dress to the hilt people. Just kind of standing around. Posing for the camera. Piles of cannonballs right here. Nice little Mason pose. Look at that long exposure parade here. No problem capturing a whole parade route, but when you look at photos from the 1880s, 1890s, even later than the Civil War, and you see empty streets, you got the NPCs crying, "Long exposure!" That fort is completely buried and mud flooded. You got these little, like, panels here. You can see a brick archway right here. It's like this is just like the boss observing the scene here. Like such a well-dressed man just in the middle of a war zone, apparently. This looks like a scene out of Maui almost. That completely leveled. Tree still standing here. Beautiful signs. I mean, just another example of we don't make them like they used to. I hope this is starting to outline a little bit. Look at that alteration. And this Washington, D.C. looking abandoned here. Look at all these windows. Some look still intact. Others look almost blown out. Very skimpy looking Photoshop job here too. But I hope this is starting to paint the narrative here. The oddities, the scenes. Like, look at this painted on American flag. Is this really the history that we're given? You tell me. And there's got so much posed looking scenes, people just sitting around. Looks almost like another mooring station right here. And go back to the airships. Very much so. Oh, these very old looking buildings. And they're just posing in front of them. Looking very mud flooded right here. Another silly scene from the muddy DC. And this is apparently soldiers posing out in front of the White House. They are altering our history day by day, minute by minute. I don't think the Civil War was anything about North versus South or anything like that. It goes maybe perhaps a land grab after the reset. Grabbing up all that valuable antiquitech from the old world, all those valuable Freemasonry buildings left abandoned. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video this week. Another little mooring station lighthouse here. Fort Morgan, Alabama. There's mud flooded and buried arches right here. Fake looking little cannons. And again, folks, this is just my opinion here, my observations. I urge you to do your own research, same as I have. Form your own opinions. Don't just listen to the narrative. Don't just listen to me. Don't listen to any creator. Do your own thoughts, your own investigations. Hopefully you'll come to the same conclusions I have. And if not, that's okay. We are all given just bits and pieces of the narrative. And we know that it doesn't match up with what they tell us. And from there, it's up to us and up to our communities to come together, collaborate, find the truth. Because the truth is important. The truth is worth fighting for. If you want to be blind and only go about life listening to what the officials, the experts, the mainstream has told you about our history, about our current events, about our world we live in, you can go right along doing that. I don't need you copying and pasting Google, telling me why I'm wrong. I don't care. Just look at this old building here. Muddy streets. I have spent many of years researching the alternative side of history. Prior to that, I was a big history buff. That was part of my big slap in the face awakening moment myself, was realizing how duped I was. And when you start digging past the surface, you find how much the narrative doesn't add up. And let me know what you guys want to cover next week. This channel is as much of yours as it is mine. And I love learning and sharing together with you guys. But I think that's where I'll leave it today. And I will see you for another fun week. Hope you guys all have a great work week, a great weekend. And always continue to question everything, friends. Until next time.